In this video, I'm going to show you how to make this fun and easy little Easter egg wreath. This is bright, happy, colorful, and it uses those plastic eggs. You may even have a bunch laying around that maybe you're looking for something to do with them. And you can find them in the craft store, department stores, and more. But you may, like I said, may have them kind of laying around. We're also going to learn how to make an optional bow. You don't have to do it, but it looks pretty as well. And this wreath, I used a 12-inch wreath form. And so it's a little bit bigger. It kind of goes over the 12-inch wreath form a little bit. So it's a little bit bigger than 12 inches, but you can use any size wreath you want. And I used about 80 plastic eggs to cover this wreath. So let's jump in and learn how to make this beautiful little wreath. To make your wreath, all you're going to need are some plastic Easter eggs. Now, lots of people have these kind of sitting around, or you can buy kind of like a big bag of them for just a few dollars. It's up to you. This is a great way to reuse some of them that are just kind of laying around. You'll need a pair of scissors and some ribbon only if you want to put a bow at the top of your wreath. I grabbed some aqua. I thought it was kind of springy looking. And then I have just a little scrap piece of yarn. We're going to tie a little tiny hanging loop to the back of our wreath. And then for your wreath, you're going to need a wreath form. So this is a metal one. I would recommend this style or like the foam smooth kind, okay? Now I've seen some people too, if you have an extra pool noodle sitting around, you can bend one into the shape of a circle and use a strong piece of tape to hold it together. Okay, but just something smooth. I would not recommend something like a grapevine wreath where you have like branches and things sticking out. We're gonna be doing a solid kind of circle of eggs. So you want something smooth that the eggs can stick to. Okay, so the other thing I would recommend for gluing anything, whenever you're using glue or hot glue, just grab some scrap paper or some newspaper or something and just throw it down, because you'll probably get some glue that kind of spills out or drips through. You'll also need a hot glue gun, or you'll need some glue. Now, if you use regular glue, it might be a lot harder to position the eggs. Hot glue is great for this project because you can kind of stick it on and within a few seconds, it'll be stuck on there, okay? If you use regular glue, you might need to prop your eggs or put some tape on it to kind of hold them in place until it dries, okay? But I'll be using hot glue for our tutorial today. To begin, we're going to kind of prep our wreath first. We're going to take our scrap yarn and you'll figure out where the top of your wreath is, wherever you want it to be. I'm going to use these little metal lines as a marker, and I'm just going to take and tie it around one of them. And all we're going to do is just tie, I put it so it's like half and half around the thing. And I'm just going to tie it into a little loop. Grab both pieces and kind of pull it through to make a knot. Our hanging loop is going to be fairly small because we want it to be hidden behind, okay? So I have my knot right here, and if we trim the excess off, it's just a little tiny loop that will just be kind of hidden behind the wreath, okay? So we want to just do that first, okay? So kind of swing that out of the way, and then we're going to just start gluing eggs on. Now, what you'll want to do is, I'm just going to slide this down so we can see our eggs a little bit better. What you'll want to do is kind of mix the colors up, okay? So you don't want a whole cluster of pink together. You want to kind of mix them up a little bit, okay? And try to just spread all the different colors out. And the goal is to just cover this wreath, the whole wreath, okay? And not really let as much show through, okay? So start by gluing your eggs and just be very careful that you don't glue your hands. Now, you may find it's easier, depending on the wreath form that you're using, to put the glue on the egg. You may find it's a little bit easier to put the glue on the wreath part itself. It's totally up to you. You may need to kind of practice a little bit and see what works best for you, okay? So just start mixing up the colors and covering the wreath as best you can with your glue gun. Okay, so I've gone around and glued eggs all around the wreath, but as you can see, there are some spots here. We have a few holes where the wreath kind of shows through. So for those areas, all you can do is just grab an egg that of a color you haven't used yet. So here we could use a green one because we haven't used green in that area so much. And then you can just kind of like put eggs, like kind of just start like stacking them up. See, I already sort of did one over here. As you can see on the side view, it's sort of like sitting on top. So we're sort of going to get like a rounded shape now. And as you can see, it takes lots and lots of eggs to cover even this 12-inch wreath form. So we're going to keep going with gluing on our eggs. Just every so often, you can just kind of look at it from the top view and just see where you need to cover up still, okay? All right, our eggs are all glued on. I kind of spun it around and just did a test to see if there were any openings. Now, we can look for our little hanging loop on the back here, and it's up at the top. So if you want to, it's totally optional, you can add a bow. So I'm going to do, I found this aqua color. I just really like the color. So I'm just going to do a couple of loops. Now, the easiest way to do a bow is we're going to actually glue this on. So you want to find the exact middle top of where your hanging loop is. I have a glue stick here. I'm just going to like mark it so that I'll be able to see where the center is. And I'm going to put my bow right there. Okay, we're going to make an easy bow. What we're going to do is we're going to let this hang down. And then we're going to let this hang down this way. See, I just made 2 pieces like this. Okay. We're going to trim that later and make it a little bit nicer looking. Okay. Then we're going to get a little bit extra, maybe a third. So it has, we pulled it 3 ways. So it goes 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to cut. So we're just sort of estimating our ribbon here. Okay. Now pull it and fold it in half now, like that. Okay. So here's the bottom, here's the top. Okay. So you're going to, once you have your ribbon, go ahead and pinch it in the middle and just tie it. We're just going to tie a knot in the middle to start, okay? It's going to be our center of our bow, just like that, okay? Then you're going to make a loop. You're going to take the other tail, and then you're going to send that through that center loop, okay? It's kind of like I said, like tying your shoe, okay? Send that through. We're going to make this nice and pretty and straightened out at the end, okay? So then just pull it tight, and it looks a little sloppy right now. That's okay. We're going to use these as handles. These are going to help us adjust our bow, okay? So just kind of pull things in, okay? So just kind of fluff up those loops. We're going to glue this right to our wreath, okay? So it doesn't have to be perfectly tight right here, okay? Because we're going to put a little bit of glue here, okay? So once you get your bow how you want it, you can just sort of lay it on your wreath. We're going to worry about these tails later and neaten them up a little bit, but let's glue our bow down. So grab your hot glue gun. All right, now you want to make sure you get some on that knot because that's going to hold that knot together and just keep everything in place the way you want it, okay? So I'm getting it on the backs of those loops. Just be very careful not to let it show from the front, okay? Be very careful too that you don't burn yourself. And then we're just going to sort of position it into place. I like to sort of lay it down first and kind of figure out where I want it to go, okay? And then anywhere else you want to tack your bow down, you can kind of do that. Now, once you get your bow just how you want it to be, then you can cut the tails. You could do nice long tails down the front of your wreath, or you can trim them up a bit. I'm going to cut mine, and I'm going to cut it at an angle. It just makes the bow look a little bit more finished. Now, we can always adjust this later, but I'm just going to kind of show you how we want it to look. Make sure that they're even, and mine are not, so I'm going to fix that. And you can even make the angles going in together so that they look more even. And our beautiful wreath is complete. Now, again, you don't have to do the bow. If the bow is too much, you can also buy pre-made bows if you don't like making bows. It's up to you. You could also take a little bit of glue and kind of tack that down a little bit to keep it in place as well. So I hope you enjoyed this project. Our beautiful wreath is complete. It looks lovely. And that is how you make a plastic Easter egg wreath. Thanks so much for watching, and be sure and click the subscribe button to get all the latest Sparkle and Splatter video updates. Bye everyone!